Alright, welcome back everybody to another edition of Crack a Pack. Today, as you can see, we're going through everyone's favorite Spider-Man set. Before we do that, just a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to be releasing some videos basically out of chronological order, so some of the things I say in them won't really make sense, or they'll be predicting a set coming out after them, but really I opened it before them. Look, we'll get all that sorted out as we continue to grow the channel. It's just one of those things. I recorded things ahead of time. Like I said, it's just me, my camera, and my packs, so I don't do any voiceover or anything like that. Maybe later on down the road that becomes a possibility. We'll see, who knows. Maybe I just keep doing it this way. But I did want to say for this pack today, we're going to take a little bit of time. We're really going to look at a few of the cards. The video might be a little longer. I'm still developing the flavor of the channel. But I don't know too much about this set. Heard a lot of negative things about spoilers and such. We'll see. So I'm going to take a little time to look at the cards. I've got a few I know that are in here that I'll be pretty excited if I manage to pull. But for the most part, flying blind. So, let's get into it. Let's crack some packs. Alright, as usual, I'll show you the whole thing first. Open it up. Get rid of all that stuff. And then we'll set this aside and start working through the packs. Yeah, I'm thinking the big ones for me are going to be, I don't know, Cosmic Spider-Man, Spider-Punk. Those are the ones that I saw. Alright, little City Pigeon. Flavorful reprint there. Interesting. I guess with the web slinging ability, you'll be able to put guys like that back into your hand, repeat their effects, things of that nature. Could be some potential there. Might be a little mana intensive. And I did hear that this is pretty legendary heavy. Alright, Spectacular Spider-Man, a little alternate art. One of the cards people weren't really enjoying is the Bagel and Schmear. One down, not too bad. Also, I believe the card is called something like Peter Parker's Camera or something like that. Artifact that lets you copy triggered abilities, removing counters. I think that could honestly find a place in most proliferate decks. Be a pretty exciting card to throw in there. Venom, alright. So we're already getting a fair bit of creatures here. Alright. Nothing too crazy so far. Turn any creature into a spider or hero, I guess. That'll come in handy for all the spider tribal that'll surely come out soon. And a nice little treasure card, or treasure token. I don't know how much I'm going to use the token cards here. Not sure if they'll fit any of the Horde decks that I build, but we'll see. If you have any interest in those deck lists, I'll run through a video with them one time and maybe link to Architect. Trying to get that nice and built up. Okay. The hot dog cart. How infamous. I don't know. Doesn't do it for me. Is what it is. Secret Identity is a nice little protection card. Don't think I'd read that one yet. Alright, here we go. An alternate art card. The Clone Saga looked interesting. And got another legendary creature. 2 foils. Not bad. Like I said, I'm trying to stay positive on this set. I know there's a lot of negative press. I mean, nothing's really jumping out at me, but you know, 1/1 flyer with a little bit of artifact synergy. Sure. All right, we're already repeating a few cards, so speed this up some. I do think that there is a few too many legendary creatures in this set. But, I mean, just so far opening, I've seen a bunch of them, and I don't know. Somebody look it up, let me know in the comments. Maybe there's 100 or so, which feels like a lot, but we'll see. That's not too bad. All right. I do like the Daily Bugle. Target legendary creature gaining menace was a fun little flavor concept. Multiversal Passage. I kind of like it. It's a nice utility land. It'll, if I get a few, slot into pretty much any of the multicolored decks I've got. You know, it's not quite a shock land because it's only one color, but you know, outside of, I don't know, late game scenarios. Tap, discard card, draw card. Classic red. But yeah, outside of maybe late game scenarios where you really don't need that extra land, it's not good, but honestly, first turn, second turn, you know, third turn, deals damage to a spider, destroy that creature. Okay, whenever a modified creature deals damage. Ah yes, and the Mayhem mechanic. A little card draw on that one spider version. I do think that maybe they missed an opportunity to introduce a few planeswalkers in this set, but maybe they're holding it up, the ubiquitous 3-mana enchantment that exiles something. I do feel like we're getting one of those in every set now, so I don't know, maybe that can become a theme. A little bit of light card draw. Connive synergies there, although it's have to be specifically villains. Speaking of, you know, cards that enter in exile, a classic Leyline Binding. Right. And I want to mispronounce this, but Arena, Heart of the Spider. Little impulse draw. So similar but slightly different than the blue-white card we saw. I mean, I'll be honest, it's not all crash and burn mechanically. Although I will say, I'm not super enthusiastic about a lot of these cards. But, I mean, I feel like every set's got to have something that's for the pauper, for the, I don't know, modern, standard. Well, I feel like it's interesting. Okay. The Mayhem is, oh, here we go, Miles Morales. Very nice. I feel like some of these cards are going to be fun to build around. We'll see. But yeah, the Mayhem mechanic is just madness by any other name. So I'm a little curious as to why they changed it, if they didn't want it to play off of any of the synergies that were possible. I mean, okay. Some of the cards are a little silly. Common Crook is, I don't know. Feels like a pretty standard little card to me if you have a Sacrifice or Aristocrats deck. Especially one that cares about treasures. That feels a little overpriced. That is interesting. It's actually a pretty interesting card. What was that? The Jackal? Yeah, Jackal Genius Geneticist. If you've got a way to play with counters on creatures, you got yourself a pretty reliable, sorry I didn't open that one on screen, pretty reliable doubler. Alright, we'll start running through some of these commons a little more quickly. A new name for, oh gosh, I'm blanking on it, but you know the lands. Okay. That's, if you could cheat that out, it's pretty serious. Okay, a little flavor text there. And creature with menace attacks. He makes money. No surprise, no surprise. That is the one thing I'll say, is it's no magic flavor, but some of these cards do seem to hit certain Spiderman tropes pretty well. That'd be good in any, there's the anti-venom that people were talking about. But yes, the Aunt May card. 1 mana, gain a life whenever a creature enters. That's a classic Soul Warden card right there. Gives itself a different name. Survives in Orca's Bowmasters. Might see some play. So, who knows? I mean, yeah, there's the hot dog card again. I get it. I know people are mad at the set. I wasn't exactly chomping at the bit, but, you know, here I am, a young channel, just trying to start up, keep everything consistent. You know, I really got to do every set, get my videos out there, so I mean, unfortunately, next year we're gonna get 7 sets. Hopefully none of them are as disliked as much as this one. That is pretty cool. I do like the art on it. Don't know if it's any good or not, but yeah, I don't have a million subscribers, don't have people chomping at the bit to watch my videos, so I gotta do a little bit of everything. Overpriced draw. Yeah, we'll start kicking through some of these. Okay, I made a little something there for, again, aristocrats. Any of those types of synergies. But yeah, I get it. Some of these cards, as I'm running through them, don't feel quite right. The fact that we've got legendary creatures in common seems a little strange. Sorry, I had that one out of frame. Yeah, a little Morbius there. Alright, see these sagas. The artwork's good. I don't know if it's really gonna pull people out of a game to see it. But a little bit of a break from the standard saga setup. Oh yeah, see, a legendary creature as a common isn't exactly my favorite. Same thing, mana dork for 3 mana. But, okay. I think that's a reprint, but alright. Yeah, the villain synergies seem interesting. Getting to use connive and things of that nature. You know, and then obviously throw a couple of shapeshifters into a deck and you got yourself quite an interesting build. If that is a direction you wanted to head in. I do like that they are giving, it seems like they're giving a lot of discard outlets, which, like, that's going to be helpful. You know, when you've got a mechanic like Mayhem or honestly Madness or just a lot of these reanimator decks out there. So I do think there is some space for some of these cards. Others, maybe not so much. I don't know. Maybe if you could web sling as an instant, it would, yeah, maybe if you could web sling as an instant, it would be a little more powerful. That's going to be interesting for any spider decks. You know, everybody likes card draw, and card drawing a cheap creature. So yeah, we'll see. You know, as part of this channel, I do want to start covering some of my decks, do things of that nature. That is an interesting card. So, you know, we'll see if some of these cards start popping up in my decks. I guess that's really the metric for how successful a set is. You know. Now, I understand all the arguments. I know what the comments might say once these videos get popular. But that is an interesting card. Wish I got a couple more of those. Yes. I do understand. Oh, wow. It's not bad for 5 mana. I do understand some of the things that are going on with the Spider-Man set and some of the issues that people are having. I'm sorry. I'm not a big immersion guy. You know, it's not gonna completely take me out of a game of Commander if somebody starts slapping down a Spider-Man with a Land of War Elves into, I don't know, someone from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Interesting. Little mana filter with no limit. I do like the flavor of the J. Jonah Jameson card. Also these Surveil lands, or I guess lesser Surveil lands. I don't really understand the reason for printing them. I mean, I guess it makes them accessible in other formats, but why not just reprint the other Surveil lands and drop down their rarity? Classic green fight card. But yeah, I mean, as we're running through these, standard little 1/1 Death Touch. I mean, cheating artifacts, that's a classic blue maneuver. So, I mean, we'll see. Although I will be honest, this is probably the only pack of this set, or only box of this set, that I will purchase. Unless there is some sort of drastic drop in price. But, I mean, I've got a Tom Bombadil deck, and dealing 5 damage to each opponent sounds pretty nice to me at the end of a saga that I might be able to bring back. So, you know, unfortunately I am already seeing a couple cards from this set that I will like to incorporate. Now, obviously, some of them is what it is. Okay, little alternate art card. A Spot Living Portal. I don't know who that guy is. So, that's the other thing. I'm not too attached to the Spider-Man IP. So, I can't tell you if it's truly accurate to its comic book origins and characters. But interesting. Eddie Brock. into Venom. I do like that we're getting these cards in the standard booster. Because look, again, this is a fresh channel. You know, I can't afford the collector boosters. You know, maybe that's something for down the road. I will say there's probably an advantage to only opening, whatever it is, 12 boosters as opposed to 30. That card would be very interesting in a Raga Draga deck. But, yeah, I mean, some of these cards are a little niche. They may only fit in one deck, and like, I'm not a competitive Magic player, but I haven't seen much come across that could really change the meta the way that Vivi did. But I guess you don't really need that in every single set. You know, maybe a couple of playable cards. A little stifle effect. The Oscorp Industries is interesting. And look at that, already down to our final 3. Let's see if this pack holds true. They always keep the best ones on the bottom. Try to get everyone to buy down as quickly as possible. That's my theory, at least. I've had some great luck with you guys on these. Let's see if this one holds true. Oh, we've got a new legendary. Alright. Maybe that one wasn't a winner. What do we got here? Second to last. I don't know what the value of any of these cards are, so even if I pull something, who knows? I could have already skipped by a $100 card. If there are even. See, there we go. That's the luck I'd like to see. I am really jazzed about that. That and Cosmic Spider-Man were probably the two cards I wanted to pull from this. But that one probably more so. So let's see, we got the final pack here. Starting off pretty normal. All cards I think we've seen before. A new legendary. Okay. That's pretty cool. I hadn't seen that card yet, so a solid way to finish everything up. But yeah. So there you have it. We have officially cracked another pack. Empty and ready to be sorted, put into decks, or put on the shelf. I'd like to thank you all for watching another video and sticking with me through this one. It was a little bit longer, but I felt like I talked some good talk. Felt a little more comfortable. I wasn't rushing through cards. I actually got to recognize and appreciate a few of them, so I don't know. Instead of the 26, 25 minute mark, we could be looking at 30-minute videos. Just let me know in the comments which ones you like. All right, until next time.